Okay, so last night we were up at Godman. We come back. One of the garbage cans is kind of tipped over here, and something's been gotten into it, but pretty sure that was the skunk.
Yeah.
Okay, the other one, the recycle bin, I'm picturing that little skunk in there because it was pretty much empty. I picture him in there running around like it's a hamster wheel.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
We found it on its side up against the tall grass right here.
Oh my gosh, no
yeah.
kidding.
Now the wind could have blown it, but I like the hamster wheel idea better.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
So then while I'm looking at that, I look over here and this is down just like this. Well, you know, it was a beautiful day. There wasn't, and wind doesn't account for the poles being partly removed. And then all the ones that belong in here
Well, they've been out.
are stacked
I
here.
them over here.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did
okay.
that because I wanted to know if they were moved at all.
Or have they been?
No.
Okay. Isn't there supposed to be 4?
Yeah, there is one in there. We did put one in.
I checked and there's no.
Oh, maybe it's gone, but there was one in there.
Yeah, I checked all 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh my God.
So there's one gone. And
That's interesting.
yeah, and this has been standing since the other day when it was taken apart.
Oh.
You stood it up.
Yeah, I stood it up.
And it's been fine all week. So Tom says it's the juveniles, and I'm thinking, okay, what do? We come and we set up all our little tents and we sleep in them, and then we put an empty one out here for them to play with. You know?
Yeah, right. Isn't
So-
that funny? I'm wondering what they did with that other pole. That is interesting.
Yeah, because I could only see 3, and you know, we tried to stand it back up, it didn't work.
Yeah, we gotta push those rods back up then.
Yeah, so
Balance. Interesting.
yeah, so there's one missing.
Oh. Yeah, I think they play with that.
Pretty cool, huh?
It is cool.
We had been up to Godman last night, and 2 members of our campout had spent the night up there by themselves. And you didn't experience anything?
No, not personally. I
No?
did not.
Okay. But you did. What did you experience?
Well, as we were letting the fire burn down and getting ready to go to bed, actually Pat had gone into her vehicle, and before I headed to mine, I thought I heard like some, I don't know, squelching sounds or some sounds back in that little damp area behind the table.
You mean like something walking through mud, or?
Something walking through mud, or some odd sound, but it was like a liquidy sound. I don't know quite how to describe it. And I just had a kind of a spooky feeling, and so I turned in, and I'd had a cup of tea, so you can guess the result of that. I was up about 2:30 and or 2, and thought I heard like some faint rustlings and maybe mutterings off, in the woods, very faint. Couldn't swear to it. Then I was up about 4:30, and the same impression. And as I was standing there, I looked off to my right, and I saw a silhouette next to a tree. That it was a perfect side view of what I would think a Sasquatch looks like,
Wow.
including I saw particularly the upper body and the head. It didn't look really thick, but the head had just the contour I would think. It was like slightly receding jaw, strong brow ridge, slightly receding forehead, and a rounded point on the top. And it wasn't moving. And I thought, okay, so I did not approach it or shine my light on it, because I thought those things would be kind of rude. And I should have spoken to it. I wish I had, in retrospect.
What was the distance from you to?
40 feet. I paced it
Wow.
off, and I've paced it off this morning. But it was a profile as though and I didn't see the legs really, but it was leaning forward slightly, as though I had caught it about to take a step, and it saw me look up and freeze.
Just
froze.
stopped mid-step.
Or about to step,
Okay.
say. Not mid-step, No,
One leg wasn't up in the air.
It was, but about to step maybe, because
Okay.
it was leaning forward as though it was in locomotion.
Well,
Very cool.
And a clear side view, and I thought, okay, so I'm not going to approach it, but I will note where it stands in relation to that tree, which is right next to it, and check in the morning.
And where was this tree again? Where was this behind the cabin or the?
It was right next
Where
to
was it in
gifting
relation to the
stump.
cabin?
He was looking at the stump. He was only
It-
like a foot from it.
It was on the other side of the cabin from the picnic table, the opposite side,
So where the gifting stump, where you'd left yours and where I
just
left my
forward
little,
of that, just towards the road from that, just a few feet.
Okay, and when you went back in the morning, you made sure that like where it was, there was no stump there, there's no tree next to it. It was actually an empty spot where you seen that.
That's right.
Yeah,
I stood where I had been standing. Could tell by the wet spot on the ground, and looked over there, and there was no. It looked like the only other thing I could think of was that it was actually blending into the tree. Like the back of the Sasquatch, the back surface was hidden, but I saw the profile of the head clearly.
How tall was it, you think?
I would say 6 to 7 feet,
Okay.
and not massive looking. But
There was a full moon last night, so that was a great.
it would have been kind of in the shadow, the
In the
house,
shadow of the
in the shadow of
4:30
the
there wouldn't
house
have been
from the
any
moon.
Oh, okay. It would have been on the other side.
Yeah,
Okay. Very cool. How long did you watch it?
about I would say about a minute.
Awesome.
well, you know,
Any
He
other
was.
sense?
You could see he was like, okay, I'm moving.
It was leaning forward a little bit, as
and there was
though
movement though.
it had been about to move and then froze when either when it saw me or saw me look up. I can't believe it didn't
Sure.
know that I was
You
moving
knew
over
you were
there. But maybe when it saw me look in that direction, it instantly froze.
well, I think that it's interesting that you say that, because when I was there last year, I would be in my tent, and you know, as soon as the light would go off, you'd hear them running all around, you know, just all around the tents. And then one night I heard the sound of the screen door. Somebody in the cabin came out, and there was one right beside my tent. When you hear that screen door move, and it just froze. Everything stopped exactly, just on a dime, just froze. You hear the person come out, walk around the guard station up to the potty house. You hear the potty house door. You hear him walk through the gravel back up to the guard station. And the second that screen door closed, picked up just like where they had been, right where they had left off, as though when that door started open, everybody just froze in position and stayed exactly like that until that person went back in, and then it was just, they instantly just started going again. So that brings to mind that experience from the same place last year.
Yeah, I mean, freezing is one of their camouflage strategies. And,
Yeah.
My truck was parked by his car, and I took 18 steps and I was right to it.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
That's really close.
And our stump
hear
was
any
probably
breathing?
2 feet from it. Our gifting stump. He was probably over there checking it out. Never touched anything. It didn't appear that anything was moved or touched or anything.
Any odor?
no,
Any other physical sense in your body?
Was it dark, like black?
it was black.
Yeah.
It was. I only saw a silhouette,
The silhouette. So
Yeah.
it's dark.
and the silhouette blended in with the back of the creature blended in with a tree. So like it was a tree, and then come down, and then the head, and I thought, okay, so there's a 6 or 7 foot tall stump right next to that tree, or something, and that's what I looked for when I went out in the morning and didn't see it.
tree
Well, they may have.
right
Right
between
there.
these two trees, and
I
our
think
stump
hiding
was
the
right
light,
here for
as long as I'm
gifting.
not recording, is
Okay.
not to say.
Yeah, I
don't
know
think it's the
exactly
light, I
where
think
that
it's
is you're
I-
referring
Yeah.
to.
Really cool, Peter, because when you came to find us last night, thank God you did. When we got back to the camp, he hopped out of the car and came around and shook your hand, and I had my window down. I was like, "Thank you so much. We hope you have an experience tonight because you deserve it. You came and got us.
We did. We
Because we
said
went
he
down the wrong
deserves.
road.
Sandy,
he
would you
deserves
like to tell
something.
our viewers how what it was he rescued you from?
We had it was what? What time was it, folks? What, 12:15 or so? And I'm yawning and I'm like, we've got to get back down this mountain. And there's a really bad rocky area, the goat trail we call it. And we turned out of the driveway and went to the right on a road that we thought was the road.
Where our
And-
glyphs are.
Yeah, and it was not the road.
No.
And I thought I had heard a horn honking, and so we stopped and rolled down the window, and it was quiet. So we rolled up the window and went on, and then pretty soon, it was a little ways in there. We see headlights behind us, and I'm like, where did that there's a car behind us. Where'd that car come from? And he's like, well, it has to be Peter. He's flashing his lights. Stop the car. So I stopped the car, and it was you, and you were like, you guys went the wrong way. You're in the wrong road. And he got out his GPS, I think it was, and found where we were, and we had to find a place to turn around and go back. And
You'd have known within another couple of miles.
yeah, but I didn't want to find out. I didn't really want to find out because we didn't know that. And it was a very narrow road, and it wasn't wide, and we had to find a place to do like a 4-point turn, you know, on the edge of a cliff. It was not really at that hour of the night. You just don't.
You
wanna,
don't want to deal with that.
No.
And we had
So-
to do the goat trail yet. So, you know, it's just like, we don't need
Trail.
extra. We don't need extra.
Well, I
So-
got to find out. I saw you had gone down the road, and I
Thank
said to Pat,
God.
they went the wrong way. And so
Yeah.
I was honking my horn,
Yeah.
and I didn't see you stop.
Oh.
I thought I had not gotten your
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah, well, I thought I heard a horn, and then I thought, well, maybe we forgot something. That remember?
Yeah.
Well, they'll just bring it in the morning.
And then Pat said, well, how about a radio? So I whipped out my radio, turned it
No,
on.
had no
Sandy,
radio.
Sandy, you're going the wrong.
Yeah.
No. So I thought, okay, gotta go get him. And I
And
found
bless
out.
you.
I found out just how fast I can drive down those.
Roads. Well, I said
You
he
were
had to go.
booking
Could be a
down that
Subaru
trail.
He
advertisement.
had to
you
go
know?
faster
Probably.
than we
In
In
were.
fact,
to
I'm
catch
like,
up with
here
us.
comes this car flying, just flashing its lights. I God, I hope it's Peter.
We're in trouble if it's
There
not.
could be some locals or the
I
hills
know.
have eyes. You know?
Yeah.
Did you hear? You said you kept hearing stuff. Did you hear voices?
I didn't hear voices. I heard some wood knocks.
Oh, really?
I kept looking up in the woods because, you know,
Oh,
I heard
cool.
banging on trees and
You did.
yeah,
Okay.
I did. He got up at 4:30 to go to the bathroom. I somehow, and I don't know, maybe this creature thing woke me up or not, but I got up at 4:53, and I was wide awake. And then I got up and I went for a walk for the next 2.5 hours looking
Oh
for
my
something.
gosh, you're
So I didn't
cute.
know that he had that sighting or anything. I'm walking around in the dark, you know, going up that trail, and got my camera in case I see something come down, or you know. I even went back where you guys had that sighting, and I went up to the top, and I was in those woods there, and I was walking along the woods on the top of the ridgeline, hoping I'd run into something, but I didn't see anything.
Well,
But
interesting, Peter. I wonder if the one you saw in the camp was the one that Larry saw up on the ridge. You don't think so, Tom?
I don't think it was
Doesn't
that
sound
big.
like the height.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
don't think it was that big, and it wasn't massive looking. Of course, what I could see from the silhouette, you know, part of a side
The
silhouette
ones
from the
up on the
side.
ridge, we figured it was around 8 foot. So, and this is not that tall. So this is a
It,
different
I would
one.
say 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of the young ones. But how did you feel when you saw that one?
Kind of nervous. I wouldn't say really fearful, but
A little apprehensive.
a little
maybe?
apprehensive. Like I didn't want to disturb it,
Mm-hmm.
but and I wasn't sure that it was a Sasquatch. It could have been a stump or a
Until this morning.
you know a cut off tree or something. I thought, okay, well, that's interesting, and I'll just take a good look and then go back in the morning and see if that's still there. And I did.
Wow. Cool. Thank you for sharing with
Very
us.
cool.
So, anybody else have anything to report from last night?
The skunk
it-
was in the garbage.
Oh yeah.
And
I-
somebody opened
I-
the car door.
Here's
Oh, that's
Sandy
right.
there.
Your car door was left open, and that I
I
find
guess.
very odd because we didn't see your dome light. Yeah.
Well, and he went and got the shirt that he was wearing out of
The flannel
backpack,
shirt that you lent to me.
Yeah.
I went and got it out of the
Yeah.
backpack.
Out of the back
It was in the
seat.
back seat. You would think I would see the front
Oh yeah.
door open.
Well, we were all went in and out of the cabin before we went to
Yeah.
bed, and you know, it's right there in front. You know, in the dark, we turned off all the lights in the cabin before we came out, and
When did you notice that, Cindy?
When I got up this morning, I just stepped out of
Okay,
the tent.
it had been there open for quite a while because I saw it when I got up.
What time did you get up?
First time probably 6:30.
See, and I got up at 8 this morning, and the first thing I looked was at the car,
Yeah.
you know, and
Right.
there's the door open. I'm
I
like,
looked up,
who left the door open? So
I saw the
I
door
go
open.
over there, and the glove box, not the council is open too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was like, Larry, wake up. Somebody's been in the
Okay.
car.
Anything from anybody else that?
I just thought I heard some knocks when we first came home, but I don't know. It sounded like before when we heard the knock on plastic pipe, PVC pipe or something.
That's
I
right.
heard that about three knocks 3 times out there, but it could have been anything. I don't know.
Yeah, you,
Okay, well, we got one more day and one more night. Can't wait to see what's gonna happen next.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay, so we have found some interesting prints here on my car. That is very long, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is going from here all the way up to here.
And look at the dermal ridges on
Yep, and they're all going crossways, like the ones that were head Sam
If
last
you look
year.
at mine, they aren't.
Yeah, they
Mine's
all go.
circle.
Yeah. Interesting. Very, very big handprint.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, while we're looking at that, there's a few on Sandy's car here that are kind of interesting too.
But we don't have a full print there. We can.
No, this here is also kind of interesting, but you know, I kind of assumed this was just you guys. I
No.
saw it last night and I thought, well, that just must be Tom's hand.
No, so you can see it's much larger than my hand.
Yeah, longer and narrower.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a blunt instrument. I don't have a hand.
Cool. Okay. You can see all the dust and everything, but we also have these interesting marks
Pat's got it.
on the back of my car that I don't know. Nose prints? I don't know what these are right there. Interesting. And another similar one, can't really tell right there. A few marks up here. Okay, so here we are. We've just had ourselves a fine lunch with a spectacular view. This is just amazing. And you know, right over here, you know, there's a big welcome X on the far hillside, but when we first got out of the car, Larry and Sandy both told me, you know, they heard a howl. I didn't hear it, but then within a few minutes I have heard it, and I've heard it several times now. So what did you do out on the rock?
well, out on the rock out there, I made a big whoop sound, and right away there was another yell from over there.
From over on that
yeah.
side. Wow.
Yeah,
And she's
and I
referring
did
to that
point.
point right there where it overhangs. Now when I was out there, I thought I heard it a couple times from over this way, but then I also thought I was hearing it coming from that way. But, you know, it's hard to say with all this big open space and a breeze blowing exactly which direction it's
Yeah.
coming from, but yeah, pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you said it was like the Ohio sounds.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it sounded like the Ohio howl.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, there's all kinds of cover, and you know, as soon as we see one running up that hillside over there, Robin's gonna go over there and do a reenactment for us.
That's my guy! Woohoo! Yeah, my pink hat.